It's a defining trait of this cultural moment, the push to remove memorials that celebrate slavery, the Confederacy, and white supremacy. But while some of these cases may seem self-evident, others are more complicated. And in tomorrow's election in Boston, one of the trickier ones will actually be on the ballot. Adam Reilly explains.
For decades, Roxbury's Dudley Square has been the spiritual heart of Boston's African-American community. But in the near future, the neighborhood might be going by a different name.
The community, in fact, is behind this whole piece of the name change for taking down the Dudley name.
Sadiki Kamban is the director of the Black Community Information Center. For the past several years, he's been leading a push to give Dudley Square a new moniker because he says the Dudley family doesn't deserve to be honored.
Thomas Dudley, who was a former governor in the 1600s, had the laws passed that legalized slavery in Massachusetts.
Kamban wants to rename Dudley Square Nubian Square as a nod to a bygone local Africana store and an ancient African empire, and to give locals a new sense of ownership.
If you ask people what they feel about Dudley, the first thing that comes out, they say, oh, I don't go down there, there's crime, there's drugs, and look, it's part of our community. We feel like there'll be an investment by the community, but first of all, relating to Nubian Square from a cultural perspective.
Kamban likens this push to past campaigns that renamed New Dudley Street Malcolm X Boulevard and what used to be Washington Park Malcolm X Park. Still, not everyone is convinced. The Bay State Banner calls the effort misguided, arguing there's no clear connection between Nubia and Boston, and that Nubians owned slaves too. Also objecting, former state rep Byron Rushing.
Why do we need to stop recognizing important Europeans who are part of this English Puritan invasion of New England?
Rushing heads the Roxbury Historical Society, and just last year he supported renaming Boston's Yawkey Way, thanks to the former Red Sox owner's reputation as a racist. But Rushing says the Dudley case is different because while Dudley supported slavery,
he was a man of his time, and it was certainly far more important to the development of Massachusetts than Yawkey was.
And Yawkey was an outlier.
He was a straight-out bigot.
Instead of renaming Dudley Square, Rushing says the mixed legacy of the Dudleys should be publicly explored in greater detail. But that's not part of the question on tomorrow's ballot, which asks simply, do you support the changing of the name of Dudley Square to Nubian Square? In the neighborhood recently, we found plenty of support.
I actually think it's an amazing idea.
To call it Nubian Square, that's giving it the more hope and more vibrant life that it needs.
The name should definitely be changed. You know, a lot of things should be changed, but we can start with there.
Which might explain Sadiki Kamban's assurance. If this succeeds,
when? We're very confident we're going to make this happen.
Adam Reilly, WGBH News.
The name change question is non-binding, and voters across Boston will be able to weigh in, but the Walsh administration has said they'll pay closest attention to what voters in and around Dudley have to say as they decide what to do next.